Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're zeroing in on something pretty common, actually. Homeownership frustrations. Specifically, we've got a stack of sources talking about windows and doors that, well, just aren't working right anymore. Our mission here is pretty simple. We want to drill down into the technical language used by repair services, companies like Glazing Spark Window Repairs. We want to give you a clearer picture, a really solid understanding of what things like low emissivity glass or precision realignment actually mean for your house. Getting past the glossy brochures.
Exactly, because usually you only start digging into this stuff when you hit those classic problems.
Yeah, the pain points the sources flag straight away.
Right. Either your windows are all misted up between the panes, you can barely see out.
Or your door's sticking, maybe rattling.
Right.
Or it just doesn't feel, secure when you lock it.
And those everyday issues, they're the gateway, really.
Yeah.
They signal a potential failure, either structurally or thermally. And that immediately brings up the big question, repair or replace? Now, Glazing Spark, in these sources, they seem to be positioning themselves as offering this comprehensive middle way, a specialized repair service.
Oh.
It's not just about patching the problem temporarily.
They claim it's an upgrade, right? Improving the actual performance of what you already have.
That's the claim.
Yeah.
And we need to sort of dissect how they reckon they can achieve that.
Okay, let's start there. Stage one. Dealing with the immediate problem, the functional failure. So those foggy windows, the sources talk about Misty glass replacement. Seems obvious.
It does.
But is that just swapping out the foggy bit? What's actually failed inside that window unit? And, how does a specialist stop it happening again?
That's a really good point. So when a double-glazed unit miss up inside, that means the seal around the edge is gone. That space between the glass panes, it's supposed to have an inert gas, like argon or just dry air.
Right.
When the seal fails, moist air gets in, condenses on the colder surfaces. Permanent fog. So, yes, the service replaces that sealed glass unit. But the crucial bit, and this is where the specialist claim comes in, is ensuring the new unit fits perfectly in the existing frame. If the frame itself is warped, or the fitting isn't spot on, the new seal can fail prematurely too.
Ah, okay, so it's not just slapping in new glass.
Not if you want it to last. And that ties right into the other thing you mentioned. The hardware.
Locks, hinges, handles, all that stuff failing.
Exactly. And with doors especially, those parts often don't fail in isolation. It's usually because they've been under strain for a long time.
Strain, like from the door not being aligned properly. The sources talk about realignment.
Precisely.
I've seen, handymen advertise door realignment pretty cheaply. Just tweak it so it closes. Job done. Why is the precision realignment these specialists talk about so critical? What's the real difference?
That's the absolute key question. A quick tweak might get the door to latch, might stop it sticking for a bit, but it probably won't restore the seal properly. You see, doors, especially UPVC or composite ones, they expand and contract with temperature. If that door isn't aligned within really tight tolerances, we're talking millimeters here, specified by the manufacturer, then two things go wrong at once.
Okay.
First, energy efficiency. Forget it. You've got tiny invisible gaps. Drafts, air leakage.
Yeah.
It completely undermines any fancy glass you might have.
Right. Makes sense. And the second thing?
Security. And this is huge. If the door's even slightly off, the locking bolts or the hooks in a multi-point system, they don't engage fully into the keeps in the frame.
So they hit the edge or don't go in deep enough.
Exactly. Which puts massive stress on the locking mechanism every single time you turn the key. That's what causes the handles to get stiff, the locks to fail eventually. And crucially, it makes the door much, much easier for someone to force open.
Wow, okay. So the specialist isn't just making the door close smoothly. They're guaranteeing the weather seal and that the locks work properly, fully engaged.
And that the hardware lasts. It's an integrated system. Realignment isn't just adjusting hinges. It's restoring the door's design function within the frame.
It's foundational then.
Totally. It's the unsung hero. Without precise realignment, talking about energy efficiency or security upgrades is almost pointless.
Got it. That really sets the stage for the next bit, the modernization aspect. Because the sources make this, almost contradictory claim. Fresh air without drafts. How does that even work? Surely ventilation means heat loss?
This is where we move from just fixing things to actually upgrading the technology. And there are two key bits here. Controlled ventilation, usually through retrofitting trickle vents. And using modern glass, specifically K-glass.
Okay, trickle vents first. How do they solve the contradiction?
It's all about control. A draft is uncontrolled air leaking in wherever it can find a gap, a failed seal, around the frame. Bad news? A trickle vent is different. It's a small, adjustable slot, usually built into the top of the window frame itself.
I think I've seen those.
Probably.
Huh?
It allows a tiny measured amount of air exchange, enough to help manage humidity, stop condensation building up, improve air quality, but it's controlled, so it doesn't create a noticeable cold draft or massive heat loss.
Yeah.
It's basically smart ventilation, often required by building regs now.
Okay, that makes sense. Controlled airflow. But the bit that really jumped out at me was embedding these vents into the glass itself, and specifically into upgraded low-energy glass. They call it K glass. Let's break that down. What is K glass? It sounds like jargon.
It is a bit jargony, but it's absolutely fundamental to the whole efficiency promise. K-glass is actually a brand name, but it refers to low emissivity glass, low-E glass.
Low-E emissivity.
Yeah, emissivity is just a measure of how much heat something radiates. Low-E glass has a special coating. It's microscopically thin, usually silver-based, applied to one of the inner surfaces of the double glazing. You can't see it. It's transparent.
Okay, so what does this coating do?
Think of it like a selective thermal mirror. It lets the sun's shortwave heat and solar gain warms your room up. But, and here's the clever bit, when the heat inside your room, from your radiators or just body heat, tries to escape outwards as long-wave infrared radiation, the coating reflects a huge chunk of it back into the room.
Ah, so it keeps the heat you've paid for inside. That's the game changer.
That's the game changer for winter heating goals, absolutely.
So this company, Glazing Spark, they're basically combining this heat-reflecting glass technology with that controlled trickle ventilation.
Precisely. And that's why the earlier points about realignment and seals are so vital. You get the structure right first. Perfect alignment, perfect seals, reliable hardware. That stops uncontrolled leaks. Then you manage necessary ventilation with the trickle vents for air quality. And then you install the K-glass to slash the amount of heat radiating out to the glass itself.
It's like a three-pronged attack on wasted energy.
Exactly. It's a holistic system. That's why they can claim significant efficiency boosts. It's not just about replacing a misty pane. It's about upgrading the entire window or door system's performance using better materials and, crucially, precision installation.
Right. If you just put K-glass in a badly aligned drafty frame,
you'd lose a lot of the benefit. The whole approach has to work together.
Okay, that clarifies the tech side. Let's shift focus a bit to the service itself, the company's scope, reputation. We've touched on security being linked to the realignment and locks, but the sources do explicitly mention upgrading home security as a core aim alongside the efficiency.
That's right. It's not just about feeling warmer. It's about feeling safer. When they replace failing locks, it's often an upgrade. They might be fitting locks that meet newer, tougher security standards like PAS-24 or Secured by Design, which work perfectly with that now correctly aligned door. It's a combined benefit, peace of mind.
And their background. The sources say they've had enormous success across London for years. What does that tell us, contextually?
Well, succeeding in a market like London suggests a couple of things. First, dealing with London's huge variety of housing, old Victorian stuff, new builds, everything in between means they need versatile skills. Second, it implies they can operate efficiently, reliably, probably deal with complex logistics, maybe trippy planning rules.
You need to be pretty slick to thrive there.
You do. It suggests a proven, tested service model. It's kind of an endorsement of their competence before they even arrive elsewhere.
Which brings us to the news relevant for perhaps some of you listening. The sources state they're expanding, bringing this service to Tunbridge Wells. How should we interpret that move, beyond just new business opening?
I think we view it as competence in their specialized model. If you've honed a service fixing and upgrading, say, drafty London sash windows or misaligned UPVC doors, and you've made it work efficiently there, then expanding to an area like Tunbridge Wells, which also has a mix of housing stock, some older properties that could really benefit from thermal upgrades, it suggests they believe their approach, the focus on K-glass, precision alignment, the whole package is genuinely scalable and meets a real need in different types of locations. They're betting that homeowners there will see the value in these upgrades.
So, connecting it all up, when they promise windows and doors working like new, it's not just fixing a squeaky hinge.
Not at all. It sounds like they're promising a restoration of comfort, no more cold spots or condensation, plus the tangible benefits of better security and, crucially, lower energy bills over the long term.
The full package.
Achieved through that specialized knowledge and technique that maybe a general handyman just wouldn't have.
Right. So let's quickly recap the core ideas we've unpacked. We went from the obvious problems, foggy glass, sticky doors, to the specific, detailed solutions. We talked about why precise door realignment is so critical, not just for smooth closing, but for the integrity of the weather seals and, importantly, for security, making sure those locks fully engaged. And then the tech upgrades, using trickle vents for controlled, healthy ventilation without creating drafts, and the integration of that low-E K-glass technology, that thermal mirror reflecting your heating back into the room.
Combining all that to boost both security and thermal efficiency.
Exactly. Now, this whole discussion, focusing on long-term efficiency, specialized materials like K-glass, precision methods, it does raise a further question for you to think about.
Since these upgrades, using K-glass and requiring specialist fitting, likely have a higher upfront cost than just a standard basic repair. What's the real long-term value proposition? How much longer does this kind of specialized repair and upgrade actually last compared to a cheaper, non-upgraded fix? And crucially, what are the potential lifetime cost savings from the energy efficiency gains versus just repeatedly doing basic repairs every few years?
Interesting. Calculating that payback period, the upfront cost versus decades of potentially lower heating bills and increased security.
It's about the total cost of ownership, really, not just the initial invoice.
Definitely something to mull over. Food for thought. That's all we have time for on this deep dive. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, stay curious.